Must be a basketball game today.
I think this might be a record.
Isn't it? It's the biggest. Looks like the most we've had in this room. All practices are important. All practices are important. Woo! Feels good. All right. Just gotta keep my nose from running a little bit. Cut your cameras there for. No, I'm just kidding. Well, that's pretty. Okay. It's cold out there. Let's be honest with you. It's cold out there. We actually got a little snow, or I don't know what it was. It was something. I don't know if it was hail or snow for a little bit, maybe 5-10 minutes. But that was interesting. Spring ball. But we had a really good day, I thought. Very high energy, but my guess is it had to do with trying to stay warm. I don't know if they were hustling. If it had been a hot day, but they really were hustling good. We skipped all the breaks and just kept going. Nobody wanted to stand still. But a lot of things going on out there. Trying to run as many as 3 teams. A lot of guys that just young guys that are lost, quite frankly. And I'm talking about when we get to the 3 units. I'm not talking about. Guys just learning or trying to take new positions and things of that nature. But overall, the tempo was great. The attitude was good. Everybody's coaching hard. Everybody's playing hard, and I'm glad we're inside now.
How's your hip? It's not an ideal situation to be standing around
Right.
for 2 hours.
Well, I do better the more I move, and so being up and around is not bad. But the colder it is, the stiffer it gets. The warmer it is, the better it is for your muscles. But and then I did almost get run over one time, and I learned to back up a little bit more than I normally do. You're used to standing in a certain spot, and I can't stand in my normal spot. I got to back up a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Was there an early enrollee, 1 or 2 that caught your eye doing something out there?
Wow. Well, I saw Rump make a nice catch. Saw Ryan Rankin flying around the ball, and he actually put his hands on one of our quarterbacks, which you're not supposed to do, so I got to correct him on that. He came through on a blitz or something, or maybe it was a naked bootleg or something, and he was pursuing the quarterback and was kind of pushing him, trying to push him or whatever it was, as he's ready to throw. He wasn't trying to tackle him, but he was kind of tagging off on him, and even that, we don't want him touching our quarterback. So, but he's hustling real hard. I saw that, and saw Trey Matthews and Mauger looked like they were, running around back there pretty good. And I didn't really see up. It's hard to see like what a Chris Mays is doing because we're just in shorts and it's hard to tell. But he sure looks good. I mean, he's really put together well, and John Atkins. He really got himself in some pretty good shape during the mat drill program and all that. And I did see a lot of those guys, on the mat drills and stuff, and that gave me a good indication of just how hard they're working and how they're picking it up. Bryce made a couple nice throws here and there, and he fumbled a couple snaps too, and threw a couple where you really wondering where he's throwing it, just like a typical freshman would do, freshman quarterback. So I probably didn't name everybody. There's 13 of them, but they all got a little piece of the day. Our goal is not to have any scout team type work in the spring. We want everybody to get a chance to get some reps. So by running that 3rd unit, a lot of guys are getting reps. Josh Cardiello was playing some center, and between him and Bryce, they had their struggles on the QB center exchange, which is typical.
How was Coach Wilson's style maybe different than what you've seen have here in the past?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't just follow him around. I didn't follow him around, and I didn't really watch up real close. But now that you say it, I probably ought to, at least watch him a few periods. But I just know he's a great veteran coach and doesn't need me babysitting him. But I don't know yet. I just got to watch a little closer. I saw him coach on the mat drills. He got after him there. So I think. What I think with him is, one thing I did notice in mat drills is when he's like he'll bark out instructions and encouragement and all that, but if he wants to say something else that might not be quite as uplifting, he tends to want to get real close to them and whisper something in their ear. So I'm not sure what he's saying to them, but I did notice that one time he wanted to get real close to a guy and make his point in private, as privately as he can in the middle of a practice.
You talk about Jordan Jenkins a little bit, Mark, and just what with Jarvis gone and so forth.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jordan is, first of all, I think he's in great condition. He already has proved to us that he's a pretty disciplined football player. He's just very coachable, teachable. He wants to do it 100% right all the time. So I think he's probably more advanced than most freshmen because of that attitude and the fact that he got a lot of reps. So I just see him he's going to be in the position to make a bunch of plays for us, and he's got to do it. And I'll tell you the other guy that Deloach is playing some Sam, and Deloach really looks good. I mean, he's really in tremendous condition. He's a great athlete. And that's going to be interesting to see how he can do. We are definitely not as big up front, but we're pretty quick and athletic. So it's going to be interesting to see, how we'll hold up against a smash mouth team and all that kind of thing as the season goes on. But we certainly have got some guys that can really run. But I talk about. We still got a few big boys. I mean, John Taylor's a big kid. Mays is a big kid. Atkins is a big kid. So we still got some size, but we don't seem quite as thick. We're trimmer. It seems like I think we're more athletic and we're faster.
This is the time to experiment a little bit. Is there a time though when y'all have to decide who's a DN for sure and who's an outside backer for sure? Well,
I think what you said first. We just got to find out and just see exactly where everybody belongs. But Coach Grantham, he's going to try to find. He always says he's going to find the best 11 for the situation, for the game you're playing, or the formation you're playing, or the down and distance you're playing. So we do a lot of subbing, and some guys are outside linebackers on first down, and sometimes on third down they put their hand on the ground and they're a rush guy. So there's a lot of cross training going on, a bunch, and that also he does that as well because it actually creates some depth. It creates some depth for you if you get some injuries and a guy can play here, but he also can play there. It helps you out. So.
Does Harvey Clemens need to eat a lot more cheeseburgers?
Yeah, he looks slim, doesn't he? Well, surprisingly, Josh, he's got some. He's relatively stout on contact. Even though he looks tall and rangy, which he is, he doesn't look super thick. But there's something about him when he strikes. He does he actually holds up pretty good. And but we also want him to be able to be a great cover guy. We want to be able to cover, tight ends. We want to be able to maybe cover a slot receiver and things of that nature. So he's very versatile in his athleticism. And so can he play some outside linebacker? Yeah, we think so. Can he play some safety? We think so too. So the thing for him is just going to be to learn it.
Can you talk about the depth that you'll have on the defense this year?
Well, I think we are going to have good depth, and I think sometimes, people talk about depth in that, well, we've got a lot of experienced depth. We have depth that has guys that have played a lot, and sometimes as a coach you feel more comfortable because, if so-and-so happened to get hurt, you got another guy behind him that's played and is ready. But we're going to have, I think we're going to have depth in that. A lot of it will be inexperienced, but I don't see a huge difference between some number ones and some number twos. I can see us doing things by committee, maybe a little bit more by certain positions, and especially up front in that line in that front seven.
So we did Brandon Harton. We knew that Keith Marshall was there. Didn't know Brandon Harton. Talk about what his situation is, and then your tailback situation.
I forgot what Brandon's was. I forgot. We got a few guys that are hurt. I don't know if it was a muscle pull or a shoulder. Or, can't remember what it was. But we think Brandon will be back by the time spring break's over. We think Keith Marshall will be back by the time that's over. We're running J.J. Green at running back right now. We had Kremplis, Green, and Gershel. You know what we call him, Gershel?
He's Gurley.
Yeah.
Without Marshall, he's just Gurley.
Yeah, I meant Gurley.
Is J.J. Moore?
Gurley. What's that?
Is that J.J. Moore need at that position, or do you see him there?
Well, right at this moment, we need him to be there, but he's not going to be like a split receiver or a wide receiver. He's going to be more of a slot receiver. And a lot of times, if you can cross-train a back to be not only a back but get in the slot as a receiver as well, that's kind of where we think he'll find his niche for us offensively. And then, of course, special teams, we want to see what he can do there too.
Coach, anyone taking a leadership role in that defense and maybe didn't expect to do so?
I wouldn't say that I didn't expect, but I would say right now I'd say your top two guys are Swan and Garrison Smith.
Mark, what's behind the flipping up the schedule and having a couple practices after G-Day?
Well, we really like to have, I like a day in between every practice. I like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And I think everybody likes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And we actually schedule our classes around Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, a lot of the classes dig into a normal practice day. So we just decided to go ahead and, like we were going to go Monday. And then there are certain days we're going to have to go 4 practice days. Now the clinic week, we really can't do anything about it. That's going to be 4 practices. But the rest of them will be 3, and then we'll grab a couple at the end. Because if you practice and then practice again, as you're watching film of this practice, it's hard to install for the next practice that very same day. But if you have a day in between, we're allowed to watch film with these guys. So now we can spend the whole day the day after reviewing the one you just had, and then the meetings prior to the next day's practice we can install. And it's better for teaching, and it's better for their bodies not to have to go every day. So that's really why we want to do it, just have a day in between.
Coach, it's been Aaron's team for the last couple of years, but talk about him being able to influence a guy like Bryce, a young guy coming in, and all those young players. He's another Bobo.
Yeah, I mean, he really is. He is another coach on the field, and he's having fun out there right now. He knows what he's doing, and he's out there making plays. And when he's not, like you say, he's out there helping other guys figure it out. And we've got some veterans that are doing that. I told the guys after practice, so you got 13 guys or 12. I mean, I think Tramel's not practicing right now, but you got a bunch of guys that are practicing. That was their very first practice, a lot of them. And I'm like, help these guys out. Help them, teach them, encourage them, because it's going fast for those guys. In the spring, usually you don't have a bunch of rookies. You don't have a lot of mid-years. You have veterans. You have everybody that knows what they're doing. So when you're installing stuff, you're installing it fast at a veteran's pace. When you have a few rookies sprinkled in there, it's hard for them to keep up. So hopefully our guys will encourage them and help them along the way.
Coach, can't remember if you covered this, but Bennett's track coming back from the ACL.
He's on track. He's doing great. He won't do anything in the spring, but I don't know the exact date, but I think he'll get at least 2 or 3 full months of just no limitations on his training. So we think he'll be full speed, ready to go.
What can you say about Tony Ball? I understand he was offered a job at Tennessee, but he's chosen to stay with you guys. What can you tell us about that?
I could tell you that I'm thrilled to death that he's still here, and Tony's one of the best coaches I've been around. He's just he's so meticulous in his work, and he's not taking anything for granted with these kids. He's going to teach them the fundamentals of how to play that position from the very grassroots of it. I mean, even the stance. He's how you hold your. I mean, it just every little detail that you could think of, he's gonna cover it. And even like a guy like A.J. Green with this awesome talent. If you're coachable and teachable, you're gonna get better because of Coach Ball. And then not only is he a good position coach, he's an outstanding special teams coach. But I also see Tony as a guy that really has a great understanding of the big picture. I think Tony can. I think he understands the run game. I think he understands the passing game. I think he understands, and he's got some really strong leadership qualities too. I think he's a guy that could be a coordinator one day somewhere. But I'm really glad he's here, and I don't even know if the players even knew what was going on. Tony's a very private guy, but I'm glad he's staying.
Jordan's a guy that is obviously a leading candidate, you would think, to pick up some of Jarvis's slack as a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you see as people that could possibly provide maybe a lift there?
Well, whoever plays Sam and Will, or anybody that plays those positions, they tend to be guys that are put in position to get the sacks. But you have some interior linemen that are going to be able to jump in there and make some plays too. But it's usually your edge rushers are the guys that make most of the sacks, and so I mentioned Deloach here just a minute ago, and I mean we may have to bring some pressures to get sacks too. We might, Josh Harvey-Clemens is going to play some Sam. I mean, Josh has got some pass rush ability too, so I would think Josh would get some opportunities. And there's no reason why Ray Drew can't get sacks. I mean, Ray's going to probably get some situations where he's on a guard, one-on-one, and they may be sliding their protection away from him, and there he is, got him a one-on-one situation, so he could do it too.
Let's take one more question.
Got to go to the basketball game.
Yeah. Mark, when you're talking about all these early enrollees, including some guys on defense who you're probably going to need this year.
Right.
How slowly do you bring them along this spring in terms of working the first unit, all the...
Well, it just depends on the depth chart. Is there a lot of guys on campus right now at a certain position? Like safety, we don't have a boatload of guys at safety. I mean, Trey and Mager. I mean, those guys they're gonna get some reps with the number one units, I'm sure. So it's gonna go. Like I said, it's gonna go fast, and their brains are gonna start really spinning a little bit with all the information that they're trying to get. But also, I mean, there's just pressure to step on the practice field for the very first time. I mean, you think about being a Bulldog for a year and a half or whatever, and now all of a sudden there you are in practice. There's some other emotions that go through your mind as you're trying to figure everything out. But the more you do it, the better you get. And what's going to happen is, when spring's over and they can review it and they got all summer to practice things that they know what they're doing, instead of just showing up in June and trying to figure it out. And so now when fall practice begins, those mid-year guys, they're going to be glad that they went through everything in the spring, because when they're watching their other freshman teammates go through it, they'll be like, man, I'm glad I got that over with.
Thank you.
All right.